We're back live again, and we've got some interesting characters on here today, and I don't know if, to even pronounce your name is, I can only pronounce the first one, the first part of it.
We're going to let the guest do the introduction.
And we're going to have to say, we've got a French driver here today on this program, and guys, I need you to watch this program to the end, because at the end, there's going to be some crazy driving. There's going to be hot laps that are going to be done. Everybody that comes on this program, as you all know by now, that you've got to set up a hot lap. And it's a hot lap that was set up by some crazy guy that we found in some shopping center that put us a reference lap.
You found him in the Spa down the road, Joe.
Yeah.
Like wandering the aisles.
But I think we've got to change that to Checkers, because Spa, you link it up to Spa racetrack. So we may have to change it. But yeah, some arbitrary guy, and he's put up a hot lap here, and nobody except one guy has been able to match his time, actually even better his time. But apparently the track conditions were slightly different. But please watch this to the end so that you can check that out. And anyway, so we've got a French driver here today. Very young guy. He's come up through the ranks. And he's doing exceptionally well overseas. His dad is still very involved in racing in the GT3 Porsche Cup series. And it's always good to have a father that can bring his son up through the ranks, and they often race together. He's out here in South Africa for a couple of months, and he was very, very privileged to be able to take part in a race here, the 6-hour endurance series at Killarney racetrack here in Cape Town, South Africa. And in fact, they won that event, if I could remember correctly. You guys
closely not. No, we finished second by 6 seconds, something like that.
Wow, it was that close, eh?
Yeah, really close.
Crazy.
Yeah, we're leading, 3 laps to go, and then the GT3 cars were just too fast and couldn't keep them behind.
It was a close race, different strategy, cool race.
Anyway, his name is Louis Maurice. Louis Maurice. From which city in France?
From close to Lille, north of France.
North of France.
Close to Spa.
But in France?
In France, yes.
Okay. Close to France is in France, all right? And then we've got Claudio. And Claudio, I'm not even going to try the rest of your name, which you can do when you introduce yourself, because I don't know how to pronounce it. But Claudio is an absolute professional expert racing coach and also team manager of probably the top racing team in South Africa, and a couple of drivers as well who are really doing well at the moment in the South African series. And so what we're going to do today is, the focus is going to be on you, Louis, about your career, how you got here, and what sort of motivated you to get to this point. This young age, you're really up there in with international standard driving. And Claudio is going to tell us all about how he gets people like you, makes them faster, and how you really manage the pits, Claudio. Because that's a really integral part of especially in endurance racing. In sprint racing, it's when you blink, it's over. All that homework and stuff's got to be done before the race. And then, of course, there's a debriefing where you help guys get better. So I'd like to start with you, Louis. If you can introduce yourself and tell us a bit about where you started your career, how you started, what got you into it.
Yeah,
and
so I'm Louis Maurice from France. I have 22 years old. I start by karting, like in
go-karting.
Go-karting.
Okay.
Yes, we call it go-karting. In 2017, so not that far. My dad raced since 30 years. So
Oh, wow. It's quite a long race career for your dad, right?
yes, he's still in it, and I've been born in that atmosphere. He done quite different thing like rally, VLN in Nürburgring, Porsche
sure.
Carrera France.
Wow, that's big.
And so, yes, as a child, I was bringing in those paddock.
So you had
and
pretty much the best upbringing anybody could ask for. I mean, running between these big racetracks, amazing cars.
yeah.
It's any guy's dream, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, mine at least.
And when I was at the age to understand everything, like at 10 years old, he was in the Nürburgring
Mm-hmm.
doing the VLN championship for
Sure.
3-4 years.
Wow.
And so, yes, that was quite cool environment. And some rally also. But I started karting a bit late. He didn't know a lot about karting, so I was more... He started already by Clio Cup, my dad. And
Mhm.
so
Okay.
he didn't know anything about the world of karting. And a friend of him saw me at the racetrack telling to bring me on the track and let me try karting to do some race because it's how it starts.
Yeah, that's how it starts. Yeah.
And so I've done tests in December. December is cold in France.
Mm.
It's like 8 degrees, rain.
Jeez. Worst conditions to start any sport.
Worst condition in the north of France, in small daughter track close to my house, and rainy day, 8 degrees. My dad said, "Maybe we didn't pick up the good day. He can't enjoy like that."
No.
I try a 2-stroke karting,
Mm-hmm.
those competition karting. I've done before some location go karting,
Mm-hmm.
and that was some sensation you discover at 15 years old.
Wow.
Crazy.
Did your dad ever let you get into one of the rally cars or the cars that he was racing at an early age? Like let you, once you started doing a bit of karting, he's like, okay, my son can drive. Why don't you try this?
Yeah, as I've been on the side from some liaison in rally,
Yeah.
and on the side he had a 997 GT3 to train on the Nürburgring,
Mm-hmm.
and I've done some lap on the side.
Oh, wow.
This one.
Was that before you got into karting or as you just started doing karting? Or
It was a bit before.
okay, so you had a little bit of a feel on how to race.
Yeah.
It wasn't like you just got in and was like, okay, I'm going to try this for the first time. You had a little bit of lead up maybe.
Yeah, it didn't come by anywhere.
Okay, well, that's good. At least you had a little
Yeah.
bit of experience before the time.
And yes, but this rainy day was good day, good discovery. And after I start karting, like the training part, I have a lot of to come back. I have a level to breathe. I was not good. I was far away from the time.
Yeah.
And I've done some training with a good regional team kart,
Mm-hmm.
and were taking all really seriously to try to bring me to the level, because in Europe, kids start karting around 8,
Yeah,
10
very
years
young.
old.
Yeah.
So
So how old were you then when you started? Is that 8 years ago?
15.
15, okay.
Yeah. And so I was far away. I was not able to do race. I was far away from the time, like 10 seconds. And during all this winter until March, April, I was training a lot to get into 1-2 seconds far away from the time to start to race.
Mm.
And that's where you learn more, because you can confront yourself by everyone, do qualification, do some race,
Mm.
even if you start on the back. But it was at the regional level.
Mm-hmm.
And during this year, I've done this regional race, and I start last at the start of the year, and I finished in top 5 in 20 driver.
Wow.
So that was pretty
That's
good.
good.
But pretty intense training,
Mm.
and really rigorous with this team MPK from the north of France, and that was a really nice experience, really strict. For 15 years old, there was the coach had this experience to make us progress,
Yeah.
improve, quickly,
Mm.
and yes, that was good progression.
And you find
I
the-
was ready after to do like national championship and also Belgium championship.
You think the level, I mean, I would imagine, you starting at 15, there's kids that have been thrown in a cart. So it's like, do you think the level in Europe in terms of karting in general, I suppose that's quite high, because a lot of the big Formula One drivers all end up in Europe as a kid to start their careers at some point. So I would assuming that level of racing is quite intense.
It's
For many years, Italy was the hub for karting. Everyone used to go to Italy, but now it has started expanding throughout Europe, and the level of karting throughout the whole of Europe is very high.
Great Britain also,
Mm.
Belgium, New Zealand, France, and you can watch the 21st places of the international championship. It's always this country, and also always the track when they do this championship is in this country.
But it seems that all young racing drivers and really good racing drivers today all seem to have started with go-karts. I mean, if I think about almost every Formula One driver started with
All started with the
go-karts.
karts, yeah.
You also started with go-karts.
Yeah.
Jonathan Thomas, who we've had on the program, has also started with go-karts.
But that's really good to learn you all the reflex, all the where to look, what is the feeling, the sensation, and
Because that's you get really amazing feeling with those little wheels. Hey,
and
Claudio?
It's all the smallest bits of input, you know. And
Yeah.
it's quick reactions. I mean, if the kart snaps, it goes. It doesn't give you
Yeah.
like too much of a warning, you know.
I refer to it as the motorsport gym.
Mm.
It's bodybuilders go to the gym and lift weights and build their muscles, where when you get into a kart, you have all the sensations like Louis is saying. You're driving, you're turning a steering wheel, you're dealing with tires, engine, horsepower, grip, braking, whatever it is. But the thing is with karts is there's no suspension. So what happens is
Wow.
you have a direct link to the tire, and the tire is the key to everything. So if you can understand how the tire works and keep it in that perfect range where it is fast and where you can do the fast lap times without it degrading or underdriving it, that is the key. So it is the school to teach you how to drive the tire at that limit. And then when you go to bigger cars, there's obviously suspension and anti-roll bars and shock absorbers and all the other fancy things in between. So if you can understand how the tire works, you can give good feedback to the engineers, and then they will make changes so that tire performs the way you want it or expect it to perform. So that's how a good driver, once they've done karting, they've moved on, can get good setups done. And when you've got a good setup, you can obviously go faster.
And also the karts, I mean, they don't have a lot of electronics, I'm assuming, still. So it's no anti-lock brakes, it's no traction control. So it's the rawest form of driving, essentially.
Yeah.
So it's like getting in like an old car that's, you know, the cars from the 60s or the 70s. There was no major electronics. So if you can drive that pretty fast, get into a car that's got all these extra features, you pretty much know what you're doing. You know, you know what the car, how it's going to react, lets you play around a little bit. So
And power to weight ratio is obviously
also,
very good.
just don't have a big lunch because otherwise you're going to be in the back of the pack.
It does.
Richard is 100 kilo, less than 100 kilos, and as a child, you weigh 50, so you're almost a third.
So you were also very light then.
I was maybe a bit more at 15, like 60 kilograms.
60,
Yeah.
60. And now?
But in Europe, you have a weight regulation. So all the karts weigh the same, depend of the category. But all the karts at the end of each race are weight. No, they control on the balance the weight and
Balance perform.
Yes, in 150 in total, something like that.
So that's a question actually I want to ask you. So if you're a 100 kilo guy and your competitor is weighing 50 kilos, is there any type of penalty that they apply?
So what happens is there's a minimum weight for kart and driver. So when you come in after the race, immediately onto the scales, and let's say, for example, a specific class, senior max, is 160 kilos. So if you weigh less than 160 kilos, you get excluded. So if you're a lightweight driver, you might have to put 5, 10, 15, 20 kilos onto the kart to make that minimum weight. So then the normal guy is, let's say, between 70, 75 kilos, doesn't have to run weight. And if you're over 75 kilos, then you're starting to penalize yourself, basically.
Because it depends of the track.
So no kart racing for me, unfortunately.
So
I'm out of this game.
if they put us on a cart,
No.
there's no such thing
I think we
as,
need to stick to rally, maybe. It's easier.
you can't take weight off the cars.
So they do have a master's class in DD2, which then they run, I think it's 5 kilos heavier than the other classes. So that helps. So all of a sudden, an 80 kilo guy comes on weight, 85 is not too bad, but then at 90 you're starting to.
No, I think I might
struggle.
weigh more than the cart.
So you can't actually strip the cart or up the power, maybe.
Well, you laugh. We got a youngster in Micromax. So
Yeah.
Micromax, they weigh 105 kilos is your minimum limit. So anyway, he comes in and he's like 108 kilos. So there's 3 kilos over. We went to the extreme of we took the sticker kit off. The cart,
What?
and that was 1 kilo.
That's crazy.
And then you take like where the footrests are, take that off. Then it's another half a kilo, and all these little things. And eventually, at this last race at the Africa Open, he was spot on weight.
Jeez. Essentially, you got the Weissach package.
Yeah, exactly. The lightweight Porsche package.
But you know, that's an interesting thing you mentioned now, because back in the day, like when they had the old Merc Silver Arrows, there was a competition that they were all entered in and they were painted, right? And that's where the name essentially started.
Oh,
they were
really?
all overweight. And then to make weight, because the paint in those days obviously had quite a bit of weight in them and lead in them and all sorts of funny things, they stripped the cars of paint and they were silver. And that's how they became named as the Silver Arrows.
Because
Yeah.
they're aluminium bodies.
Yeah, and then they actually ended up winning that race, even besides this whole weight penalty
We're
thing.
talking they saved like 10 kilos or something.
Yeah, it was
It's a big
ridiculous.
thing, eh?
It was
Paint is a
ridiculous.
big thing. I know with Byron Mitchell now, when they went up the hill, you know, the Neisner Hill climb, and he won the King of the Hill there. When they rebuilt that car, they stripped all the paint off it. Also a few kilos. They made that car so, you know, you couldn't get it any lighter. They made an engine out of aluminium instead of the heavyweight steel.
Yeah.
They saved a lot of weight there. I believe that engine, I think they saved either 20 or 20 kilos or something, or maybe even
possible.
30. Then they stripped the paint off, and so
Yeah.
it's obviously the same with any racing. In fact, I mean, go-karts are obviously more critical. You know, we had a go-kart session the other night with our supercar club with Jonathan Thomas. And needless to say, I had a hell of a penalty.
I never do well in those things because I end up going
Yeah.
full taps and sliding the car because I'm too heavy for the cart. So you push your foot down and you wait a few seconds because it's going to move. And eventually it moves. And when you gain enough speed for the first corner, everyone's like, but you shouldn't slide through the corners because you're going slow. I'm like, but if I don't slide, I stop. So I better just keep going.
But, you know, the funny thing there was that most of the guys weren't race drivers like yourself and myself and Jonathan. So the funny thing was, although I was a lot heavier than 90% of the field, I was in the top 10%, you know, of the time, and that's just pure race technique which you learn. Because it takes so many years to really refine racecraft. I mean, I found that out the hard way. Needless to say, I started late. And I started in Porsche Cup. That's where I started in a Porsche Cup car. And I just couldn't understand how these little Golfs could come past me. I got my foot flat on the gas, and I think I've got a
Inside
really fast
line.
car. And they just keep coming past. And, you know, I turned around. I think it was to Johan, who had that very fast Porsche.
Actually,
GD2.
sometimes you can drive better when you know you have too much weight because you have to keep the speed. You have to maintain this momentum, and that can help in race like that in karting.
Yeah.
To
But
to
this is
beat
where,
youngsters who know they have power, they are light, but finally,
yeah,
Exactly.
you know, I mean, Leon, this is, you know, part of this idea of this program is for youngsters and up-and-coming drivers or anybody out there that wants to start racing to see what is involved with actually getting in, becoming fast on a racetrack.
Yeah.
Because most of these guys think that they've got a big, hot, fast 1,000 horsepower car under their ass,
Nah.
and they're all down a highway. They think they're good drivers.
Point and shoot.
Get on a track.
Yeah, exactly.
And
of
that is
change.
where you learn to drive properly.
to turn.
Yeah, then how to turn. And I mean, that's where, you know, I can remember starting out, Claudio, and I had a couple of sim sessions with Claudio, and I had no clue what I was doing. And I mean, you know, it was so bad that, you know, you can't even tell me what to improve at this stage because we need to
Stay on the track.
You know, go and churn out a couple of 100 laps and try and get a feel, you know, of the simulator. Also, getting on a simulator is although the simulators today are really good, they replicate the real car really accurately, and so that is another way to improve your driving, and that is why we do this simulator segment on this program. So it just defines, you know, we've had some helicopter pilots and game ranging of 4x4 guys on, but the common thing between all of the guys that we've had on, other than them being extreme sports people and adventurous and petrol heads, they all had a really high level of hand-eye coordination. You know, even if you're driving an SUV vehicle in the bush and up and down through rocks and crevices and that, you actually learn to feel the car. You got a lot of hand-eye coordination, and also being a pilot, you know, the helicopter guy myself. You know, I think I did shortcut the system quite a lot because I'd been flying for so many years. So, you know, on this program, that's what I'd like to delve into, and Claudio you can refine a couple of details, what the guys need to learn out there. You know, if you want to get into racing, and you have no hand-eye coordination, you know, you might be born like that. It's really difficult to learn it because there are some guys that you would put on a simulator or in a race car, and you just know.
The classic standard sort of problems that you find when you got somebody new, they come out on the track. Number one is they want to prove how good they are. So that's the first thing you're dealing with, where they overdriving, they either braking way too late, so they don't have that perception of depth and how long it takes for a car to stop. So, for example, I've just done a new kid on Wednesday, and he came along with his V8 BMW M3. So first problem, they don't understand the dynamics. The car weighs 1.9 tons. So the first problem you're going to have is brakes. So start off slowly, already where he's braking is too late, even though we're going slow. So generally what I do is I let them do 2 or 3 laps and let them build up, and then you get to that point where they're braking too late.
And you sitting in the car with them then?
Yes.
Okay.
So I just want to get an idea of what they're doing, so you can see, okay, now we're getting to that point where if he goes any faster, we're going to fall off the track or do something silly. So then I say to him, okay, let's go in the pits. I swap over, I start driving. Immediately, I start braking way earlier than what he is, even though we're going slowly. So for him, it might be very odd. Why am I braking 100 meters earlier? But then as I speed up and teaching him the line where you have to go and where to get on the power and make sure it's rotated before you get on the power, and the speed builds up. And I'm saying to him, for example, Killarney, probably brake at the end of the wall. So I'm talking the big wall, and that's like before the exit of pit lane. It's quite early. It's like a good 300 meters before. But as the speed goes, that is probably the best point to brake, because when you're getting to the corner, you can see you're having moments, and the car just makes the corner. So then when they take over again, then you can see they're not so eager to brake so late. And as they build it up, they start realizing how fast they're actually going. And here comes the problem. 1.9 tons doesn't just stop suddenly. And within a lap and a half, 2 laps, already the brake pedal shuddering. So
heating up.
So if you
brake fluid's boiling.
Yep.
if you keep hammering that thing, you're going to have brake fade. So anyway, then he gets in, and I keep explaining to him, can you feel that pedal shaking? Yes, you can feel. And I said, that's you overheating the brakes. And if you keep hammering it like that, you're going to run out of brakes. So that kind of makes them understand the physiology of what's going on and calms them down to half a panic, so that they don't drive stupidly and then go and crash. So a lot of the training is just making them understand what's happening, so that they can...
I almost think that training should be mandatory for people buying performance cars, especially, and not just young people, because you see a lot of young guys, their first car is like a 135i BMW or something. I mean, they're not slow cars to start off with, right? It's not like I grew up, my dad's like, there's a 1300 Toyota for you, you'll drive that, you know? Some guys start out with pretty decent cars. And at the end of the day, they don't really know how to properly handle that car. And it's the same for guys that maybe come into money late in life. He's been driving an average Polo for his whole life, and now he's got some cash. And first thing he does is he goes to the Porsche dealership. I want a Carrera S. Well, I want an entry-level Carrera. Yeah, but the Carrera is not so fast as you. It's still a fast car. That's a 450 horsepower car, you know. You need to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And that's how things can go wrong. So I'm almost of the opinion that somebody is like buying their first proper performance car. They should actually say, you can have it, but you need to go to the track first, contact Claudio and go for a proper a session, because it's essential. You need to know exactly how the weight moves, where the car brakes. And out on the road, it's a different story. Because on the track, it's predictable. You got a predictable line, you got a predictable surface, temperature changing and all that, not variables. But on the road, you're not just combating the performance of the car, but it's people running out, it's a dog, it's another car, it's guys that are going slower than what the rest of the traffic is going. So there's a lot of these variables. So, I mean, that's an interesting point, you know, and I think that's something that, you know, is lacking in society in general.
Same with the racing. In England, you've got a course called odds, where you have to do the odds course, where you're with an instructor and he makes sure that you're competent, and then they give you a license to go racing. In South Africa, you literally can be 50 years old, never raced a car in your life, never been on a racetrack,
get a license,
literally go and buy yourself a Porsche with 450 horsepower, and the next day you're on the track and you're racing.
Yeah.
You've got absolutely no idea what the hell you're doing. And the problem is, it's not just you. It's one thing if you golf and you crash and you destroy your car and you're totally stupid. Problem is, you're taking out
2 or 3 other guys behind you. Yeah, and interesting thing, I remember when Peter Solberg was here when they did the first rallycross, and I had a really good chat with him then. And something he mentioned, and then I subsequently started doing a bit of research on that. Like they all started doing their rally, but in the Nordic regions, you don't get your license. I think it's till you're 21 or something. And you need to go through a barrage of driving instruction lessons where they drive on snow, because they've got snow on their roads, right? So, I mean, you look at all the top rally drivers, they all come from those countries because they've been driving in snow and gravel, and they've actually done some proper tuition. So, you know, also something to look at, you know, maybe push that license a little bit later and do a couple more lessons, buddy.
Funny enough, when I was a youngster, because I was born in Kenya, my dad was out doing a recce for the East African Safari when I was born.
Wow. Epic piece of rally, that.
So I was born into that world environment.
Wow.
And he was track racing as well. So right from that early age, I've been exposed to motor racing. And when we were, I think, teenagers, myself, my brother, in Joburg at the Rand show, they actually created a little rally course or track, and it was purely for training. So they had like Piet Swanepoel and a few people like that, Hannes Grobler, various people there.
Those guys who they're quite famous.
Legends,
today.
They were there and they were training us just because we've never rallied. So, and at the end of it, we got a certificate saying we've been through this
That's amazing.
rally course. But it never stuck in the sense of it should still be there to this day. But it was like a one-off at the show, and then
that was the end of it.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Quite sad. Quite sad. I mean, we were talking earlier off cam, just before you came, as well. You know, talking about getting into racing and racing. I mean, we just spoke now about kids getting into karting and all the top Formula One guys coming from karting. But I mean, you can attest to this, and I'm sure you guys will give us some more info. But it's not a cheap exercise to start. You know, karts are expensive, kits expensive, and we were just speaking about this earlier. You know, back in the day, you know, guys used to race whatever was cheap and cheerful. Cars were cheaper. You know, you got into racing with a small Mark 1 Golf. You put a roll cage in it, stripped everything out, put a pair of rims on there, and off you went, tires, and there you go. Now, trying to get into racing or trying to get into that kind of hobby, if we could call it that, because a lot of us, it's a hobby, and for some, it becomes a profession. It's not a cheap exercise at all. So I think that's where the world of like the sim racing is now starting to make it more accessible. And like we were speaking earlier, where you know, a lot of the sim racers that actually go on to be professional racing drivers, you know, that muscle memory, that repetitive, going around the track, learning the braking points, and how good the sim rigs are getting nowadays. a much more, accessible entry level part for where people can actually start racing, kids, guys, whatever, because I'm not at the ability where I can go and dump money on a race car, but hey, sim racing, it's a great option.
But I mean, this is one of the objectives again of this program, is to educate the people out there who want to start racing, how to get into it. Because it's, when people say, yeah, I'd love to race, but where do you start? What do you do? What do you have to do? And that's, I'd like you to spend a little bit more time on that, because your company, you've got a company that teaches beginners and more advanced drivers how to race a car. And so tell us a bit about, so you've got a training school which people can come to, and you would take them through the whole procedure, how to start, what little exams to write, etc., just to get the initial license, and then you start with the training.
So
what is the name of the company?
Race Driver SA. So what happened was we were selling kart equipment. So I had a kart shop at the track, and you'd sell the karts, and then these people had no idea what they're doing. So they'd then come back and say, please help me to run the kart, help me to this and that, and my kid hasn't been on the track, doesn't know what to do. So eventually it was a weird way that it came across, where I would say, okay, I'll put some time in and then I'll train your kid. And then when I sent a bill for that, they would sort of like, why are you charging me? Because I've just bought a kart from you, and now you're supposed to train my kid and do all these other things for free. Which is like, no, that's my time. So
not how this works.
I'm still going to charge you. So I got this idea of creating Race Driver SA, which was a completely separate arm of training. So people would come, buy the kart, and then when they needed training, I would invoice them from Race Driver SA. And they'd get their normal bill for their karting and then the bill for their training. And all of a sudden they were very happy. Like, okay, I'm paying a professional to train me, not a guy that sells karts to train me. So it didn't matter if you're the same person, they just saw
the way they perceived it, yeah.
So that sort of started a whole new generation, which now I don't sell karts and all that stuff anymore. I actually focus just purely on the training side.
That's awesome.
So what is the name of the company?
Race Driver SA.
Race Driver SA.
Or RDSA.
RDSA. So people wanted to get hold of you.
Yep.
Do you have an email?
info@racedriversa.com.
info@racedriversa.com. Okay, and then you can phone Claudio as well. Your mobile number, would you like to give that out? Or
I can. And look, the best is just...
how do you get hold of you?
Is just send a WhatsApp. The cell number is 083-277-0304. And just send me a WhatsApp with a bit of a description, because to get a phone call and say, hey, I'm coming and I want to race, and just give me a bit of a description by WhatsApp so we can chat a bit and then get an idea of where you're at, what you are, and then we can
take it from there.
We can understand what you're looking for, and then we can obviously organize it and get it going.
Okay, so a guy calls you and says, okay, I want to learn to race. You put him through the initial paces, and then you say, right, this is what's going to happen. He's either got to come with a car, I guess, or do you have a car that you can train him on?
The first thing is age. So if he tells me he's got a kid that's 5 years old, I'll say buy a kart. If it's somebody that's 45 years old, had no experience whatsoever, then we'll look at a car on track that's cheap to run and
like a Juno.
That's already advanced. But
it's easier to drive than a Porsche Cup car.
So what I would suggest, for example, now that we've got the BMW series in Cape Town, you can get an old E36 BMW at a reasonable price. Don't have to do anything radical to it. Yes, you can change some suspension, strip it out a bit. Obviously, you have to put a roll cage, stuff like that, where there is people at Killarney that can do that kind of stuff.
That sort of stuff.
So then once you got your car, it's a car that's affordable in the sense that it's a cheap car to run, and the tires aren't that expensive because they run semis. So that gets you onto the track doing mileage, and then we can train you. And when you get to a certain point where you're pretty on top of it, then you can decide if you're a single-seater person, a sports car person, whatever class that sort of tickles your
So
fancy.
if we get to the basic race cars, so the guys mustn't think he must go and buy himself now a good pre-owned BMW and then it's going to be stripped down. There are actually, it's got to be a really almost a scrap BMW that you just convert to a race car.
Yeah, and again, the
And there's
people in
many
the industry, like for example, if you go to Neon, which is NDT Racing, and you say, Neon, I'm looking for an E36 and I want you to set it up and so on. You can discuss what sort of level of setup, because you can spend a lot of money as well. You can go overboard and put lots of electronic stuff in it, which is not necessary. So just get a base car, and I don't know what the cost will be, 150, 200K once you're done with everything.
Yeah, those cars are really well priced. You know, instead of a dedicated like a Porsche Cup car is like really expensive, or a Lamborghini or anything like that. I mean, that's for a guy that's got the loot and won't feel it. But for the average guy, you can go to somebody like Neon de Toy from NDT, who's like really, it seems to specialize in BMWs, and that sort of category of car. And I mean, I've seen cars there for 300 grand. You've got yourself 300, maybe 400 grand tops.
Yeah.
You've got yourself a decent race car.
And it can do a lot of laps. And if something goes wrong, they're cheap to fix.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You know, a race car is not something you polish up in your garage and make it look good. It's
But they say a clean race car is a fast race car.
Always.
You want it to be a little bit, have some hangeration on it, you know.
Got to polish it up. The better polish has got, the faster it is.
Yeah, Leon, yeah.
And then you might get some youngsters that are aspiring to single-seaters. So maybe do a little bit of karting and then move over to single-seaters. There is local Formula Libre racing, which is very cheap and you don't have to spend a lot of money. And then if you do decide to make the step to nationals, we have now MSA4, which is actually a Formula 4 in South Africa, but they called it MSA4 because South Africa did not build the cars with a carbon fiber tub because it's very expensive. And if you have an accident, you basically throw it in the dustbin and have to buy another one, and it's super expensive. Where the space frame chassis does the exact same job, but it's stronger, safer, and if you get knocked and you bend a pipe, you can always cut that pipe out, weld in a new one, and you don't throw the chassis away. So it's just a cheaper way of building it and stronger. And then they brought in the halo as well for safety. They brought in the tethers, 2 per tire, so if you have an accident, the wheel doesn't just go flying off, it stays with the car. So all the stuff they're doing overseas is basically implemented. So it's a proper FIA homologated car. And it's gone to the point where they're trying to now get super license points as well for MSA4. So you can be racing in South Africa and already scoring points as if you're racing Formula 4 overseas. Yeah,
it's amazing.
But let's just talk about that halo thing for it. So you're talking about an open single-seater car.
Yeah.
And they now... So this guy's obviously making the halo. So the halo is that little thing, if you look at a Formula 1 car, for listeners out there that don't know what that means, it's that little support beam that runs in front of you, right? Like dead in front of you, that you see in a Formula 1 car, which is an amazing safety feature. But now locally, they have not introduced that yet.
They have. So that's now in the MSA4. So the MSA4 did their first round. So they've also changed over, because it was a Formula 1600 with a Ford engine. So now they've moved over to MSA4, so they updated a whole lot of things. And one of them was the engine. So they went to the 3-cylinder, I think it's a 1-liter VW turbo engine. So they did a lot of mileage on the test car. Everything was fine. And then they built all the cars ready for the series. And the first round, which was at Killarney, all the turbos came from a different batch and they gave trouble. So the bearings were wearing. So they basically had a problem. They had to withdraw from Killarney.
Sure.
So then they went through all the issues, found all the issues, fixed the issues. And the first race was now at Swartkops for the season. And it went well. The cars went well, sounded good. Pace was good, so all those things have been resolved, and yes, they've got.
I'm a big fan of the one-make races, because the one-make, they call one-make race,
okay,
where everyone's driving the same cars,
Yeah.
Setup's the same. It's just the drivers. You know, you can mess around with the suspension and you tune here and there, but it's very limited. It's all down to driver. I mean, you're in the one make race. You're driving the Renault Alpine.
Yeah, the Alpine A110.
And
In
how
2 years.
and how are those cars?
I'm really convinced also by one mark, monomark,
Mhm.
monobrand,
Monomark, yeah.
monomark race.
Mm-hmm.
It's mostly sprint race,
Mm-hmm.
but in Europe, plus they are supported by the brand. So the Alpine Cup was organized by Alpine. You have
Wow.
the Porsche Cup France, who is organized by Porsche.
Mm-hmm.
So that's bring a lot of
Support from the manufacturers. and
support, of visuality, of a lot of
So
people
the sprint
watch
race
that.
is what, like a 20 lap race? How,
Yes, it's 25 minutes, something like that.
yeah.
Yes, they do in time, and all the cars are the same.
Mhm.
You have to set up them to you have a small
Balance of
range.
performance. Like they all have to be set up the same.
No,
There's
you
a
can
small
change
range you
something.
can change.
Well,
yeah.
you can
Yeah,
map
okay.
maybe a little bit, change a bit of the brake bias to
So
suspensions,
brake
but the
bias,
power output's governed.
power is
Everything's
this-
governed. Yeah.
and you can change anti-roll to have some chassis difference. But yeah, it's and the tire pressure, something like that, the damper, suspension.
But now, is that what?
It's more to fits with the driver, not
Yeah.
fits, but to adapt the car to the driver, not for
Yes.
the performance, for
No.
the driver to be more comfortable.
Each one's
in the
got
car.
their style. Yeah. So you
Yes,
might
to
like a bit
change
more understeer, a bit more oversteer,
Yeah.
lift
Yeah.
off oversteer, the kind of just modeling the car
Yeah.
after how the driver likes it.
And that's creates really interesting races.
I love that
Like
kind of racing.
all the qualification, they are all the 25 cars in 2 seconds, something like that, sometimes less. And yes, that's race.
And what tracks do you guys? Is it only regional tracks, or do you go into other countries as well within
No,
Europe?
yes, we went in European country. We went to Spa, went to Monza.
Okay,
went
wow. So you guys
to-
get to tackle some of those
Portugal.
cool tracks.
See,
eh?
Yeah.
he lives in France and he lives in Europe, and they've got all the
We are
amazing tracks
close.
out there.
We are close
That's
to all
amazing.
this track, so that's easy
And-
for us. That's
And your
main
favorite track?
advantage.
What's your favorite track?
Definitely Killarney.
Is it-
I never raced there. I want to say that. I want to try that, but it's.
I want to talk about that race. I mean, how did you find? So, Claudio, you managed the team. What would they call you? Race engineer, race manager?
In South Africa, we don't have these specific
You don't have a
roles,
ti-
and
yeah.
there's 10 people, and they all got.
You just do
specific
everything.
roles. And the team principal that does the driver training, sort of, yeah. You also do the strategy. You do all that kind of stuff. So you sort of a holistic kind of look over everything. So yeah, there is no specific job, I would say.
And you have crazy skills. Like the car we was racing, like the Nova, is a French car, and all the pieces you can get about it, it's hard to find here, and they are far from here and hard to import. And the first day I came here in Ricubaro team with you, you was creating your pieces for the rear damper to make the car more soft. And they was just sending some photos of these pieces.
So what happened was the rear anti-roll bar at the back is one unit where your 2 rods come in and they bolt on, and there's this anti-roll bar which stops the car rolling. So Nick comes from overseas because they've got an updated one, excited to put it in the car, so they spend quite a bit of time to get it in the car, and once it's in the car, they realize that it's not a one piece, it's actually got a second piece that bolts on the top, which is this aluminium where then the rods bolt onto. So this thing's now in the car, all excited, but
Don't fit.
It's not working.
half of it's missing. So I just looked at some pictures and so on. I said, don't worry, I've got the guy. He'll come here, he'll measure and so on. And eventually we actually got the CAD drawings from France.
Okay, that's
And
gets easier.
sent the CAD drawings directly to this guy who's got an engineering shop, and with his measurements on what we had and the CAD drawing was 4 hours?
The next morning was
4 hours. The thing
Quick bit of
was done.
CNC and off you go.
And here we're bolting the thing on, and we raced the race.
So that is quicker than just sending the part.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what he's trying to say is, again, you're not just doing one thing in the team. All of a sudden, there's a crisis because we know that anti-roll bar, the new one, is better. So we want it in the car. So how do we get it in the car? So you start phoning around and get the right people. And in South Africa, we managed to do that.
Make a plan.
Okay, so question. So did that improve
Yes.
the car?
Yeah.
Yes.
So you, so Maurice, you were Mr. Maurice,
Louis.
Mr. Louis Maurice. You were one of the drivers, right? So it was Nick Adcock, Michael Stephen, Jonathan, and yourself.
And yeah.
And a 6-hour endurance race, which is part of the endurance race of South Africa, because I believe it's a drivers' championship. So, yeah, it's a contentious point which I've brought up in the previous thing, because if the two drivers do the whole series, like Byron Mitchell and myself did the whole series in 2023 and became third overall, Class A, but one of us had to get a 4th place trophy. And the guys that came first, you would get a 1st and a 2nd place trophy. And of course, I took it up with Riddell, and he kept saying, "This is a drivers' championship." I said, "Oh no." So the two of us came third. We did every race, same car, together. Why must we? Who must I give the 4th place trophy to Byron or to me? We both got exactly the same points, same car, same. And he said, "You must decide yourselves, but there's a 1st and a 2nd place trophy." So, whereas overseas, it's the team.
Yeah.
You know, your
In
team.
the car, it's the car. Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess at the end of the day, I mean, if you've got, I think in your races as well, you chop and change drivers. It's
Yeah, it depends. Sometimes some teams don't manage to find a driver for all the year, so they switch in the middle, something like
so
that.
is it well, I guess it's then, say you drive now with a few teams during the year.
Yeah. This year I didn't drive yet. I will manage maybe,
okay.
surely to
But
do.
I'm trying to figure out how it works at the end of the day. So your car, your team.
I think it's a bit like F1. You can win the constructors championship,
Yeah.
but then as drivers, depends what you do as a driver, you can win the championship or
As a driver.
not. So I think they must have two separate sort of scoring systems. One is for the cars and the other one is for the drivers, I presume.
So at the end of the year, so if it's a series like the Le Mans series, for example, endurance series, it's, the drivers change all the time in almost every race, in every endurance race. And at the end of the year, obviously whoever wins that race gets the first prize, and then it's the overall champion.
I know they have a trophy also for the team, and they count all the points.
I can understand if the drivers change all the time and the same car goes through, but if it's the same drivers in every race, same car, same team, and you eventually win the whole series, you can't give somebody a second place.
No, that's
You
not
both-
sure. I think overseas they give you 3 first place trophies.
Yeah.
Like Le
I'm
Mans,
100%
if you
sure.
win trophy for first.
It's
Like,
also, if a driver screws up, like what happened with Nick Adcock in the last 9 hour at Killarney, when the guy took off his glove under safety car with 2 or 3 laps to go, but he was the only one that had a camera in the car, and it was under safety car regulation, etc. So they punished the entire team. Whereas overseas, they will fine the driver. So you won't actually sacrifice your place. I mean, you've earned first place. Now, if one driver does something that breaks the regulation, they don't punish the whole team.
Yeah.
So I think they should look at those regulations as well. I mean, I've barked about it before in previous programs, so I'm hoping that it all filters
Someone
through,
will listen. But speaking about the endurance racing, do you guys know if the 9 hour at Kyalami is still part of the World Endurance Series? Because it was for one race when they brought the Bentley. Jordan Pepper was racing the Bentley, And for those races, it did actually count as part of the points for the World Endurance Championship.
It was for the Intercontinental.
That's right. Yes. Yeah.
And then the second year, there was the whole COVID thing.
Yeah.
And only a few cars came out, and then the timing was just wrong. So
Haven't had another one since. It'll be nice to have another one because I enjoyed that.
because they ran that one, but I think it was just because some cars were here and they ran it, but it didn't count as a championship because most cars couldn't make it.
Because it was nice seeing some of those cars actually in South Africa and it being part of a World Series points race.
Biggest issue is the timing between their championships and in between their championship to get the cars here. and
Yeah,
then
it's
get them
a
back.
long way away from where they normally race. Yeah.
Big problem.
But I want to get back to this race. So you were here in South Africa, so you became part of the team because you know the guys, Jonathan and
From
Nick
overseas,
from overseas racing in, what do you call that series?
It's the Ultimate Cup Series.
Ultimate Cup series. And it's the prototypes. Are they all Nova?
All Nova this year. Last year there was some LMP3.
Nice.
This year there is like 28 Nova
Nova cars.
for 4 to 6 hours endurance race.
And because you guys had met there, you came here and then you became part of the team.
Yes, Jonathan welcomed me well here in South Africa. He present me, everyone present me.
Yeah,
to you,
Jonathan
Peter.
Thomas, who's like our current fastest guy around Killarney, and set the record over there. And I mean, he came from go-karts as well, from nowhere.
Not
And
from
he's like-
nowhere.
Well, he did go-karts.
He came from,
And then-
at 15, he arrived there, decided he wanted to do karting.
No, I know all the karting career, but when I say that, karting, and then somewhere during COVID time, he did a Cobra endurance race, and then did one race in Steve Humble's Judd or whatever they call that. What is that thing called?
Judd.
That thing is damn fast. And then Nick, Nick then gave him an opportunity in that.
But that was the Ligier first.
Malaysia, yeah. But I mean,
the
that is a quick.
JS53.
What I'm saying is, it was like, go-karts we did exceptionally well.
And there wasn't like a lead up to a whole lot
And
of
then
other
boom,
cars
bang, bang,
before.
he's-
Yeah.
So if you take a driver and you put him at the top end of karting, be
Yeah.
it Senior Max DD2, and you can win national championships, that driver is basically sorted. Yes, you put him into a main circuit car, there's this like fear because it's a big car and but his skill is there.
Yeah.
So once he's unleashed on the track, if he's not stupid and he just builds it up slowly,
Yeah.
he's in control and he knows what he's doing. The beauty of it is the racecraft that you learn in karting is radical in the
Invaluable.
sense of you do 5 years of craft in karting. By the time you get to this main circuit stuff, you're a pro, you're an expert.
Yeah.
So that's where the difference is. A guy that hasn't done karting comes into racing, maybe drives a whole lot of cars, blah, 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 and it seems like a better build-up. But as soon as he's in a race environment with a karter, he's nowhere.
Different line.
Has
yeah.
no idea what
I'm an
he's
example of that.
But it's interesting. It's interesting what you say.
That's me. I came into racing and went through all these different type of cars. And these aliens that have driven go-karts, they just come zooming past.
But that's the thing, yeah.
just
But that's
cannot-
the thing.
Even on the simulator, I don't know where
But
they
like
find
karting,
the time.
I think is a lot more, and I'm going to probably use the wrong analogy here, but for me, I see the karting as a rigid, hard start because, first of all, the G-forces in karting, from what I've seen personally, and I've had GoPros and telemetry on cars, it's a lot higher than in a normal race car.
Yeah.
Secondly, some of those G-forces are so hard, you got to have like rib protectors, carbon fiber rib protectors, just to stop your ribs from getting injured or cracked or broken.
Yeah.
I mean, that's some serious,
this is
that's
serious
that's
G-force,
serious G-force, right?
Yeah.
The thing in car, you have all the belt to maintain your
Yeah.
body. The only thing is the head.
Yeah.
In the karting, the seat stop here.
Yeah.
So all
Everything above you is
above-
exposed. Yeah.
Yeah, and in the curve they want to go outside. So
Outside
you have
the
to
cart.
maintain them. You have to work a lot.
Yeah.
Karting is way more physical than
Exactly
being
that.
a
So
car.
you got to be fit. You got to be. It's a physical sport.
I know.
And I mean, also like we said, there's not really any suspension on there.
Yeah.
So when you get into a race car, it's arguably, and the guys are probably going to shoot me for saying this, it's softer. So it's more comfortable, there's more play, and there's more forgiveness. Because, I mean, I'm not a karting racer. I've never raced, but I have done just the normal little kart runarounds.
I forgive you there.
Thanks. And I mean, the karts are very much more on the edge. You know, there's a very small room for error when it snaps. Like if you're driving a car on the track, and it's a forgiving car, you can play with it and, you know, let it go and that. But when a kart goes, it goes. You know, there's no real coming back from it unless you, by some miracle, are lucky to bring that kart back into position. So that's where I think it's exactly that what you say. You've been exposed to the extreme side of racing in a raw format. So you've had that good foundation, and then coming into racing, it's like it's a given. Yes, you know, it's just like
the first thing all karters say when they go to main circuit is, "I was so bored on that back straight. It's like it's so long."
yeah. And even though you got more horsepower, you got a car that's bigger. Everything seems
Bit of
slower and
Rolls-Royce.
softer, and
Feels like a Rolls Royce going down the back there.
yeah.
But,
So
So,
100%, yeah.
I want to get back to, so you had this opportunity to, and Nick Adcock invited you to be part of the team.
Yeah, to race, yeah.
Yeah.
To discover the South African race.
Yeah. And so I know, and I already know the answer, but how did you find the quality of our track? Well, Killarney, you know, if it was Kyalami, it would have been a whole different
Story, yeah.
from a quality and an amazing track point of view.
It's a bit far.
But you adapted exceptionally well. And I think that is the quality of a really good driver. He can adapt to the conditions very quickly. Because, I mean, you were on pace. What time did you do in the Nova, your quickest?
1:08, 9.
So the big thing with that race is it was lots of rain. And
Yeah.
it came and it
No,
went.
the race was
yeah.
different. It was
So you couldn't really sort of compare one driver to the other because each,
Different conditions.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The bottom line is they all got in the car. They all were professional. They all did the job properly. They were all consistent.
That's very important.
Yeah.
the
So
discovery of the track was on the dry.
The
When I
what?
discovered the track, the 2 practice day was on the dry.
Dry,
and
yeah.
the race was totally
the
wet.
wet.
Yeah, totally different.
That's changed a lot. But to answer you by discovery of this track, it's very different than the track in Europe. But it was really interesting to get into it with a car I know. I know the Nova.
That's
And I
very-
know how
you know the Nova, yeah.
drive it
True.
with the advice of Claudio, who gave me straight away the braking points, the attitude to have in every corner. I get into it really
Quickly.
correctly and fastly. But
Was Michael Steven also on the team? Yeah.
yeah, also Michael Steven helped a lot. And the main difference is, yes, the track is smaller, tinier.
But narrower, yeah.
There is
Bumpier.
bumpier.
3 routes on the back straight.
You have to learn the bump, and you can almost drive closed eyes because you know after this bump you count half a second and you have to brake.
Yeah.
That bump became some braking point. So that's quite interesting. And you have also huge traffic, a huge gap between each car. You have some
Yeah, the
GT3.
classes are like,
Yes, you have some GT3 overtake you 30 kilometers faster than you in the straight, but you are faster than them in the corner. And you have also this Cobra who are
very slow everywhere.
very slow. Yeah, they have different tires. They have different.
And they have different,
Yeah.
I
a lot of them have different quality drivers.
Also,
I call them mobile chicanes.
Yeah, you got to think for them. Where's this guy going to go? Because most of them, they see you in their rear view mirror, and they think, "Holy shit, which way must I go?" Instead of just staying where you are.
that's exactly that.
Oh man, yeah, and that's where there's been some really big accidents like that. So you adapted quite quickly, and then Claudio, Hugh, you know, I remember visiting you guys in the pits, and you were sitting at a desk. You had all the data. Was that all live data that you could get off the car?
Right.
Some screens that you could see what's happening out there, and then you were getting live data. And that's like so unusual for South Africa. I've never seen that, first of all, at Killarney, unless they're really, now lately the big guys are coming down now, you know, the Stuart Whites and these big professional teams are coming, but in general,
Okay, so the live data is not like you thinking where all the data from the car is coming to us and we can
only
read
certain data.
fuel and whatever like they do in F1. So we don't have that. So the live data we have is obviously the timing system, so we can see what's happening there. Then we have a camera in the car which we see as it happens.
Yeah.
So that for us is a lot of info that we can pick up where he is, what issues, if he's gone off,
Right.
blah, blah, blah. And then we've got our engineer that calculates literally the fuel every lap so that we know how much fuel we got, starting to work out a window when to obviously.
Is that live data, the fuel?
So the live data is our drivers tell us live we
How
got
much fuel?
how much
This is how
fuel
much
we
fuel we
in.
got left. Yeah.
So yeah, it's not an electronic thing, but it's the drivers tell us exactly. We ask for a fuel
But
reading.
you have kind of a model who
Yeah.
predict and we can compare to double check with what
Right.
we
with-
see the
with
car
previous
use on the
data
car.
that you've
And we've got a
downloaded.
spreadsheet that literally every lap we fill in, and then we know where we're at. And then safety car is an issue because, do we pit now? We don't pit now. Has the driver done his minimum time in the car? So that's another thing. So you can
This is
get
the
a safety
stuff,
car, bring him in and send him, the next driver out. And then, oops, he hasn't done his full quota of 1 hour and 15
Gotta get
minutes.
back
to
in
stop
again.
again.
So then
and
he'll
you
have to
lose.
get back in again. So you got to work all those things out
Strategy,
and make
yeah.
sure
Mm.
that his sort of session is
So
finished.
just for the
and he
listeners,
doesn't have to
so,
jump in again.
So in endurance racing, that was a 6-hour race, and you guys were 4 drivers.
Yeah.
So each driver has to do a minimum amount of driving because you're 4 drivers.
That's correct.
So, and it's not exactly a quarter, right?
It was
of the
like an
driving.
hour and 20 minutes.
There's
or
a little
something like
formula that they.
1 hour and 15 minutes, I think it was.
Yes, I
'Cause
think
you
it
said
was that, but
$2.
with
Yeah.
the red flag, it changed a little
Yeah,
bit.
so
There was something.
when he says it changes is, for example, red flag, the cars come into the pits and they parked, and the driver's sitting in the car, that's doing time.
No, because then you're reducing time of the race.
So let's say they're in the pits for
Yeah.
a whole hour. He's done an hour part of
You're
his
done.
stint.
So,
So-
that's where you want the worst driver of the lot, the slowest driver. You want him in that car when there's a red flag. Just get his time over because you want to put the fast guys in.
That is exactly it.
Yeah, it's race strategy.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
So,
But
for
you can't
There's a
control it,
lot
and
of
it was me
strategy
in the
there.
car at this moment.
Oh, really?
So what's that?
You can't control it because the red flag,
Of
when they
course.
Yeah,
stop
you
the
don't.
car.
You just hope.
It just
and
happens.
it was
It's-
me in the car. With
With a
at
red
this
flag.
moment, yeah. I've done like 5 laps, but the rain was getting heavier and heavier. You can't see anything. All this bump became puddle of water.
Yeah.
And with our light car, the Nova, it became aquaplaning everywhere.
Hmm.
So
That's scary.
the race during 2 laps became like staying in 80 at the middle of the track, and after they stop it, and no one can see anything.
Sure.
But we wait 30 minutes that the rain come down, and we race
And then
again.
start again.
Yeah.
So okay, so that, and then you sit in the pits. You now managing, so to speak, conducting the orchestra. He's done his quota. This guy's done his quota of time. Don't bring him in at this stage, even if there is a safety car, because we're going to waste another 20 seconds or whatever to just do a splash and dash or a tire change or whatever, and a driver change, for example. And you want to keep the guy in there and let him be as consistent as possible. Because I remember when I did the 9-hour at Killarney, because I was the slowest driver of the team, but I was the safest driver. So there's a big difference.
They put you in the pit.
There's a big difference. Because in the beginning, we used to send out Byron Mitchell, who was always quicker, and send him out first. But we quickly realized that's not the right thing to do. Send out the slowest driver first, or the safest driver. Because, in the beginning, the first hour or an hour and a half is pandemonium. There's so many, especially when they had that 1-hour bunch with you. So we quickly, I think it was there were 5 races. So from the 3rd race onwards, they put me in the car first. Then I try and get my quota of time done, because we could do 2 hours, 20 minutes with that car. on the same fuel.
Okay.
So it was pretty economic. So at the Killarney, I did with the 9 hour. I went out first and did my whole quota of time, my first stint, just in case, because there was rain coming. And I mean, you would do the same thing, I think, in any race. So I didn't want to go out in the rain. So I went out, it was dry, and I said, let me get my quota of time done. I was going to go in afterwards again in the last, I was going to do the last 40 minutes or something, or the last, the last hour, being the owner of the car, it's nice to bring it home. And so now we get the rain in between. Now, when we did this 9 hour at Killarney in 2022, same thing. When the rain came, Byron, take over.
You go.
I got limited experience in the wet. And so the really good drivers, you try and get them in the really bad conditions that they're used to. So, but there's a lot of calculations, and for people to really understand what goes on, and that's why endurance racing is really the ultimate racing.
I love the endurance racing.
What goes on in the pits and in the race in general. So, I mean, you got this fantastic opportunity. The team, where did you guys come at the end of the day?
Second.
Second. To
At
who?
the Killarney.
Oh, it was on the last
On the last lap,
on the last lap.
6 seconds behind the GT3. That's 4.
Because what happened is you guys stayed on the same set of tires
It was
The whole
quite,
race.
yeah,
the whole race.
quite an interesting strategy. Yeah, there was, but way different car. The Lamborghini have to stop more often for fuel
Yeah,
and change tire because they use more.
yeah.
They are heavier. It was all the race on the wet, and yes, so we was in front, and also they are a bit quicker.
Yeah, so they had to have been quicker if they stopped more and they could
Yeah,
still
they
keep
are
up with
faster
you.
and straight, and they have all the ABS, ESP. So
Which you need in the wet.
We don't have any of that.
Yeah.
yeah,
So
and they,
it is-
they just bought the last version of this Lamborghini. I think it was
Lamborghini
brand new, the new
Evo 2.
technology.
Yeah.
So quite impressive and cool car to concurrence with. And yes, that was close.
So
So to come second to that in what you guys were racing, that's an amazing feat in its own.
After 6 hours, yeah.
Yeah, well done.
It's cool.
That's good driving,
That
man.
was a lot
That's
of
good driving.
sensation.
Great
good-
strategy.
Yeah.
we had an issue that we were dealing with.
Ah.
The car is slower than the GT3 cars. So down the straight, they, 20 k's an hour faster than us. So we get to this race, and our speed to ourselves was another 20 k's an hour slower. So we like 40 k's an hour slower. So we just, lots of things, lots of engineering, lambda sensors, this, that, whatever. What we found, the car has a torque sensor that goes into the gearbox. So the engine produces power and torque, and obviously goes through the gearbox. So it's got the sensor, and it's a protection so that the gearbox doesn't get damaged by giving it too much power. And when it's cool, like it was at the race, there's nice oxygen in the air.
Big
so then
torque.
all of a sudden it pumps more fuel in and makes more horsepower. And the torque was too much for the gearbox. So the
That's amazing.
program tells the throttle to go less 20%. Then it starts giving less fuel. Then it starts kicking back all sorts of things, timing, this, that, and the other. So it literally steals your horsepower, and you're running at only 80% throttle as well. And that's why we were so slow. Now, overseas, all these cars run together, and on a day like that, they all
They
go
would
20
all have
k's
the
an
sa-
hour
yeah.
slower.
So you don't notice it.
So you don't
Yeah.
notice it. But where the
Interesting.
GT3 cars didn't slow down,
You noticed
we
it.
slowed down. We noticed it. So we couldn't believe that even with that deficit, we still managed to race them. Still, we were leading literally till the last
To
couple
the
of laps.
last
Well
lap.
done.
Yeah.
Well done, guys.
So that was
Oh, what's
Good
that
racing.
overtake on that last? It was literally the last lap, I think they
I
overtook.
think so, yeah.
And that had you did a tire change.
And also for the Lamborghini, it's easier to overtake us. But
Sure.
when the Lamborghini is in front of us, he's slow in the corner, but
Can't really get past.
we can't really pass them.
Taking up the whole
Yeah,
track.
because the
Yeah,
track-
it takes
now
the
the
whole
track's
track.
there.
And even if we can maybe have it on the brake, but he put us 20 meters in the straight, a bit more maybe. And just at the exit of the corner, he put throttle. And
And of course, you got a wet situation.
So I suppose on a wider track, you would have had more opportunities in the corners, because obviously Killarney is a little bit on the narrower side to
Yeah.
most tracks. So
you can't overtake.
no,
every-
so
every-
once there's a big car in front, you're not getting by if he's going to pull you on the straight.
We ran the one set of tires. End of the race, the tires still looked almost like new.
That's a sign of good drivers, huh?
No, but
They
hang
can
on a
look after
second.
the tires.
So that was a sign of we had a tire for South Africa for when it's warm and it's raining. So now that it was super cold and raining, we should have had a softer wet
compound.
tire.
Mm.
Yeah, because I was going to say, if because who was in the last? Jonathan, because he said the tires were done. He had better tires, he could have.
But that's a
gone
grip
bit
thing.
Quicker.
Yeah, the tires weren't done. It was just
grip.
the tires
The
didn't.
wrong
Grip.
So it's not.
hardness.
And again, yeah, it's South Africa. We don't have so much choice.
You get
you're
what
not
you
going to
get.
go and buy 10 different types of tires and then
Yeah.
say, oh, okay, today we can use these.
Intermediates,
You
wets.
kind of get your wet tires, and that's your wet tires. And
So if
you
he
live
had
with it.
changed tires, for example, say on the last session, would that have improved situation? Not really. Because
probably worse because
the-
he would
the-
have taken a couple of laps to take the sheen off the new
Yeah.
tire. Being a thicker tire, you might have even slower straight line speeds with the thicker threads. But you don't
it was
really,
incredible.
from that tire, from when we started to when we ended, there was no difference in performance. He
Yeah.
said it was the tire, but I think it was more the conditions.
So do you think that you did your pit stops and your driver changes everything exactly right? You couldn't have done it any better, let's put it that way.
The beauty is my mentality, maybe because I've been a racing driver and I try and see things logically. The little that I have done on strategy is people get very sort of like into this little calculation, and this is when it's going to happen, that's how it's going to happen, and generally that always backfires because there's no logic behind it. So I assisted at the 9 hour last year, and straight away I thought, no, they got it completely wrong. They shouldn't be coming in so early, even though there's a safety car. Just things like that. And they were landing up one lap behind, and it just, to me, didn't make any sense the way they were running it. So when we went back to Killarney and we did the 4 hour, that's where then I said, no, he doesn't come in now. Keep him going. I don't care if there's 3 safety cars, he stays out. We have to get to a certain window. Then if there's a safety car, we'll bring him in. So having
Makes
done
no
that,
sense.
it changed our whole strategy altogether, and we wanted to do minimum time for all the drivers. We didn't want them to get out and then have to get back in. So that was a big focus for us. We put Nick out first because that's when there's a lot of red flags initially. So if he has to sit in the car, that's fine. I think you went second. Then we put Michael Stevens in third. Michael, being an engineer, very logical and also a good racing driver, there would be discussions and saying, you've done your time. There is a safety car. Should we come in now? Shouldn't we come in now? What's your thoughts? And he would chat and say, no, we're coming in now, because it's not about him trying to get some extra time on track. It's like, no, this is the ideal strategy. I agree with you. I'm coming in now. And then put Jonathan in to do the rest of the race, which was the toughest stint of all.
Sure.
Yeah. And
Talking
did
a-
you put Jonathan last because he would be the best in the dark or the most experienced in the dark? Or
So better in the dark. He knows the track well. Generally when you're the youngest, you are the better in the dark. As the drivers get older, they tend to get
more cautious.
And
more
there was
cautious.
we was also all discovering this. No, we don't was all. I was the only one who discovered the track on the wet during the race. You come into the race out of the pit for your stint, and you don't know how the track is on the wet. So that was quite
Yeah.
tricky.
But you have
Jonathan
to
done it
accept
well at the night, but he knows the track. That's why he chose
Yeah.
to put it last.
That's
And also
it.
Michael, they know both really good the track, so they can manage with
Yeah.
low lights. You don't have enough light
Mm.
to.
So that's
clear.
another thing, the South African way. It's not like you get the best lights you can, you go out and fix these lights and do certain procedures to make sure the lights are working. It's kind of, oh, there's a whole lot of lights that have been bolted onto the car. Put the car on the track. Can you see? No. Can you see? No. Can you see? No. Okay.
We
So
change.
there's a sort of dark spot there and a dark spot. Okay, come into the pits, twist this, twist that, lights facing different ways, and it's like,
Right.
oh, okay, now I can see this and I can see that. So you literally boermakaplan mentality in South Africa, where overseas they'll do it properly. They'll do it inside the workshop.
And
What-
the track
yeah.
is properly.
What we used to do in the
Sure.
rally car days,
Nice.
trick from the rally cars is you put the lights on the car where they have to be, you bring the car right up against the wall, and wherever the light is, you make a cross on each one, and then the car goes back, I don't know, 50 meters or whatever it is, and then all of a sudden they're not shining on their X's where
Yeah.
they're supposed to. So then you
Can start
literally
adjusting
one
it.
light on at a time, and you make it shine on its X, and all of them
Yeah.
are shining on their X's, and then you put them on all together, and then it lights up everything.
So many details and points. I mean, there's so much involved, and that's why I think endurance racing is the absolute ultimate racing, and it shows you to win. You need somebody like yourself, Claudio. You need a proper race engineers as well that can fix those cars quickly, and that can pick up the problems and know how to solve them. And then you need crack shot young drivers with no frontal lobes.
No fear.
No old guys up there in the really tight spots, and but we're going to see how you cope actually on a simulator. And I'm going to put you both guys now, Claudio. I know you're an instructor, so you know simulators very well. I think you.
No. So this is the irony. I even build simulators, but I don't know them as a driver in the sense of I have driven on them, but it's been very rare. And I suffered from vertigo and nausea on simulators. So I've got them,
Very interesting.
the old school sort of Michael Schumacher disease, where he couldn't drive on simulators because he used to get nauseous as well.
It's fantastic,
So what happened is
fascinating.
I've got a simulator which I hardly used because it just got ill quite quickly when I drove on it. And then eventually what I did is I made a pair of glasses because my multifocals, when I'm sitting in there, you have to keep moving your head all over to try and get things into focus. So I made a pair that is literally for that distance in your simulator, and it's all just one. So that has made a huge difference. So I've then driven a couple of times since then, and it seems to have worked. So
Good. So something to do with the eyes, maybe, just in terms of how visually
Well,
how you
that's
see things.
today going to be no excuse for
so I brought those
not driving
glasses.
that simulator.
So I brought those glasses, so I should be fine.
Yeah,
He's all kitted out.
but I also have bifocals. They're like graded, and I just sit back because the screen is only that far. You know, the far points on the screen is actually not physically that far. It's all this distance. So I just set it on one. I just tilt my head in one way, and I just stay on that way all the time. But that's how I deal with it. But I remember when I started flying, the same thing. In the first 20 hours of flying, I used to get sick. And I said, if I get sick past the halfway mark, I needed to do 40 hours to do the private pilot's license. I got sick on every flight, and I just said to the guy, I could turn around. I'll go back to base, and we'll try again. And so I went, and I said, if I'm my 21st hour, if I get sick, then I'm going to can it.
Out.
And psychologically, that guy could have done anything with that aeroplane. I didn't get sick from there onwards. But, you got to do something to pass that little Rubicon. A lot of it's in your mind, and you got to get your whole brain to settle in. Because I do believe that eventually you would get over that. Okay, so we're going to go and do
Off to the
hot lap.
races.
So, Louis, it's been amazing to see your career going like crazy, and it's lovely to see your father giving you these fantastic opportunities, and that he's also racing still. And so it's definitely in the family, and I see you guys have raced together in races as a
Crazy
team,
friends.
and it must be fascinating. I mean, imagine if we had that opportunity to race with our dads. You know,
That'd
what I
be cool.
mean? Yes, like. So we're going to go and do a hot lap, both of you, and then and we're going to see how you compare to these other helicopter pilots and 4x4 guys and wildlife conservationists, etc. And against our little twig guy that set a hot lap at some stage. Byron Mitchell has so far beat the twig's time, but I believe the track was a little bit colder when he did his lap. So
we need to do a retake on that one.
we're going to have to get the twig out here to get the conditions to be exactly the same. But all right, so let's go and do that, and
do
then
that.
we'll get back with a debrief.
Yeah, let's do it.
So, Mr. Louis, okay. It's a good start. I mean, it's only your second lap out there.
Have to get into the car.
You mean you have
There is a good reference out there.
Good
There's a
reference.
good reference here.
Yeah. That guy's going on the best lap time. That's pretty good.
Great.
That's a nice... Oh, you've got this car really waxed, eh?
Yeah.
Incredible how he hardly blinks.
There was a lot of time in the second chicane.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
that's critical part, eh?
Yeah. It's hard to get. Oh shit. Why did I speak?
You've gone outside and trying to limit there.
I will still speak.
Well, you matched the Twig's time.
What?
You've matched the Twig's time there.
What is that?
45.5.
Not bad.
Sector 1 time was good.
We got Claudio now. Are you getting that pretty waxed there, Claudio?
Still overslowing it going in.
Yeah.
First right-hander.
Shit happens. Shit happens.
Okay, Peter, you've used half your fuel.
So how are you feeling, Claudio, at this stage of the game?
Feeling slow.
Nice. Shit, that was a beaut. Now you're on it. Take care of this lap, this will be it. Oh. Claudio's on his second last lap here, and he got an excellent exit there. Oh man! Yeah. There we go. Come on, Claudio, you got to do this one, eh? It's your last lap, man. That's it.
Sector 1 is 036. Off your left.
Same place! Jeez, what a rally that was. So, yeah, I've got my jacket on because it's bloody cold out there. And,
It was cold out on track, eh?
yeah, the track was cold there.
Winter test day.
It's all-
Exactly.
It's all cold. And so we've just completed our hot lap shootout. And it was very interesting, actually, to see, you know, the seasoned race driver, Louis, that you got the hang of it very quickly. And Claudio, who's a driver instructor, professional driver instructor, and instructs on simulators as well and so on. And it's just interesting to see, that because you sitting on the outside, Claudio, teaching the guys, you can see their faults. I mean, I watched you watching him drive, and you were already like recording all the brake points, the gears, and so on. I could see that matrix of yours going on.
That's to gain time.
Because I mean, you got on that track and you were, on it almost immediately, but just figuring out the feel of the car, and.
But that's a really good exercise, close to the one we do when we discover a track on a test day before a race week.
Yeah.
Because we have 20, 30 minutes to discover the track and some laps to feel comfortable with the track, and after try to work on the setup to improve and to gain the last tenths.
Yeah, exactly.
This kind of limited this time on the sim is really interesting, because on the sim usually you have infinite time if you want to make the best lap.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why we're trying to keep it the same for everybody. Nobody can go out there and practice before they come on the program because they don't know. Because I don't even talk about which track and which car is on the program, simply because then the guys, he's coming out, he's going to go and practice.
We can't go in your garage to train.
Exactly.
Some of the guys have got simulators at home, of course, like Nick Adcock, for example. He didn't know either. He asked me as well, I'll tell you. So, okay, so let's have a look. So, Louis, how did you find that? How did you find your lap? How do you think you did?
I've done pretty well. I tried to keep it safe.
I think you were driving on limits.
Yeah, on limit, but you build it.
You build it up.
You have 5 fast lap, and you try to put your lap in the bench, and after you try to push the brake
a little bit
further.
more. Yeah.
Because I was on the limit, but you see the ghost car. It was a bit close. It's still close, but still a bit faster. So that was when you try to push the car. This ghost car was maybe a professional sim driver or something like that.
I can see when he was enjoying it as well, because there's a couple of corners, and on your one too, you can see which drivers favor which parts of the track and how they actually commit to really flow through the corners.
But it's harder to feel the limits on the sim.
It is.
When you don't know the sim, when you don't know the
But
car.
it's very close though. I mean,
it's really close, and more you train with it, the more you feel it, I guess.
Sure.
But
But I mean, all the
good
same
equipment.
driving techniques apply on the simulator as well. Your tires heat up if you spin. You overcook them. You have to cool them down again.
Everything is really well transcribed and well
Simulated.
Yeah, simulated. Yeah, exactly. And Claudia, how do you think you did there? How do you feel?
I struggled with the brakes. So the sim that I've been driving recently, which is Tristan's, he likes a very hard brake pedal. So your pressure is quite hard. And when you're pressing that hard, you don't really lock wheels at all. So this one's a lot softer, and my instinct is to go harder, and then I'm lighting up either the rear or the front wheels. So then it was more of a, obviously brake less, and trying to find that point where it's maximizing the braking without locking. So that was my difficulty, is trying to get used to that.
But it's interesting though how seasoned race drivers, how quickly they adapt to that. They'll get into different race cars, different tracks, and they adapt so quickly.
That's
Whereas, I regard myself as one of the older guys. I think we sort of almost in the same category. We don't adapt that quick, but also that you're teaching, so you're observing more than actually feeling the car itself. I think.
I think I'm doing both, because you're teaching, you're getting all the cues, you're trying to learn as well.
Yeah.
Then as soon as you're in the rig, then that whole physical thing becomes an issue. And like I said, probably need another 2 million laps to adapt.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, we had, as I said, we had some really interesting people on so far, but mixture of race drivers and other type of petrol heads, pilots and that sort of stuff. So, okay, so let me give you the good and the bad news. So, Louis,
Yeah.
let me tell you first, we had this twig guy that came out of the blue, out of nowhere, and got him out of a shopping centre and said, come. He said he could drive, and I put him on the simulator. He put up a lap, and I said,
pretty
okay,
good.
well, let's keep that. I had a twirl or two, and I thought, Jesus, this guy can drive.
Not bad for a shopping backpacker.
Yeah. Where's the Twigs time? Yeah. Oh, yeah, there it is. Yeah, there it is. So, the Twigs time was 1 minute 44.5. And Louis, you did a 1 minute 45.5.
Sure.
Exactly
Good
1
time.
second slower than this professional worldwide.
That's an eternity.
I mean, a second is a lot. But
a good
having
time.
said
Well
that,
done.
Jonathan Thomas, who's also a guy that drives with you and is also one
we're
of
in
our
the same
fastest
car.
drivers in the country, did also a 1 minute 44.5. I beg your pardon, 1 minute 45.5. Yeah, 145.5. So the two of you did exactly the same time. And it's interesting, though, because you're like both youngsters, both seasoned race drivers, both driving the Nova prototype. And so I think that's amazing.
Great time. Well done.
And there was, however, one guy that's faster than Twig, and that's Byron Mitchell. He did a 1 minute 44.1. So, however, we believe the track was a little bit cooler than what this setting was here, but I'm not going to take that away from him. He is a current South African simulator driver as well. I mean, he took all the MSA competitions out there, and he actually took part in some global competitions. So he's so to speak world standard on simulators and in real life. And then we got guys like, hang on, let's first get to your time, Claudio. So, do you think you came close to that? I mean, I think you did very well, in fact.
Felt slow, like I say, just battled with that brake pedal.
Yeah.
Didn't feel like I was in control. So
Yeah, the bias, moving it forward, you were getting a bit of oversteer and so on and so forth. So, you did a 1 minute 46.8. So that is 1.3 seconds slower than your professional sitting here next to you. So that's actually very good, seeing as that, you had to adapt. And
That's still a great time.
but I bet you...
we will chip battle.
But, here's the thing. You know exactly where all your moments where you were losing time. And because of your engineering and the way that you approach driving, oh shit, I overcooked this one. But that's just what we would all term as practice. Practice.
Time in the seat.
Time in the seat to iron out those things, because it's difficult to get that little bit of hand-eye control. You know what you want to do, but you need a few more laps to do it. And that's why we take this thing back a little bit. But then you get guys like, let's see, the next quickest time, let's see, Louis. So, in fact, you and Jonathan are second fastest. I mean, we've got Byron Mitchell, who's an alien, but so are you. Then Nick Adcock, he set the next best time of 1 minute 46.2. Now, Claudio, so Nick Adcock was 146.2 and you were 146.8. So you're just this much behind Nick Adcock. So
just need to do 1 year of ELMS, and then maybe I'll...
Good to go. If there's any sponsors out there.
He, in fact, said he'd never driven a GT car. And so it was like a huge adapting for him,
I haven't driven a Protonova. I haven't driven a GT car.
Yeah. And then we had a guy called Mikey Kay, who's a assault helicopter pilot for 20 years and did Iraq and Afghanistan and all these crazy things, and he did a 1 minute 51.5. So that's technically 5 seconds off the Twig's time. And for a guy that's never driven a simulator, never driven a race car, but a serious assault helicopter pilot, where you need a lot of hand-eye coordination, and that's how he could adapt that quickly. And then Rob Barber, he's a wildlife guy, and he hangs around in the Okavango Delta, and he's got one of the best mobile safari outfits out there, probably in the entire Delta. Never driven a race car, but 4x4. 1 minute 51.9. So he's just a little bit off the helicopter pilot, but fascinating to see how close he was. And then the slowest guy, which to date is Alex Stoos, which is quite surprising because this guy's raced everything: quad bikes, road bikes,
just not 4 wheels.
motocross
Only
bikes.
2 wheels. 2 wheels and
2 wheels.
2 wheels and water.
Yeah, skiing or
Jet skis.
jet skis. But that also requires an incredible amount of hand-eye coordination and depth perception, all that sort of stuff. So, but it's interesting. But I mean, he's never driven a race car before. He's never driven a simulator before. And he also said, "Can I stay?" He wanted I battled to get him off that simulator. He loved it. So that was great, guys. I mean, that's
well
so
done.
you know,
Good
it's
show.
out there. We're still going to have Kwande Mukena is coming up. Stuart White's coming up. Kolile Leclerc is coming up. Michael Stephen. Oh, yeah. Michael Stephen, I reckon, is going to give us a go on the simulator. He's going to give the Twig a go.
These are guys that spend a lot of time on simulators. So they should be good.
Maybe a
I
big
mean, I race
championship.
against the guy, you know, often he races with us in the Masters Series on the simulator racing, which incidentally, anybody out there that's got a simulator and wants to race there, we've got a fantastic league race here in South Africa. It's called the Masters Series. And, you know, the guys must come and join us. It's a lovely league. Sometimes there's some prize money to be made. In fact, I think you make more money on simulator racing than you will in
Actual
real
racing.
First of all, by the money that you save, and secondly, there are actually cash prizes.
Yes,
But
sure.
must come and join us. I know of a few guys out there with simulators. Even Nick Adcock, he's got a simulator back home. He must come and join us.
I must get mine going. I'm almost there.
Yes, yes,
Just
yes,
need the rig.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what time did you do on the sim?
I haven't given this thing a proper go yet. I did 3 laps just now before I think I did a 1:45.8 on my little 3 lap. That's the first time I actually gave it a go, just setting it up, which I think I'm at my limit there anyway. I normally
That's pretty good.
a second and a half behind the big guys, but I still got to get you on, Leon.
Yeah, I still need to do some time on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Do it.
get these guys. I mean, Leon is. He keeps saying, "Oh, I'll beat you guys on the simulator. Just give me a chance, and we'll get it." Anyway, I think that about wraps it up. And I really thank you, Louis, for coming on. And we'll be watching your career in the future. And hopefully, I can get a little drive out.
Yeah, thank
One
you
of
for
these
having me.
days.
Yes, you have to come overseas race.
Yeah, no, I'm
Cross.
going to come and
We have
join
to
you guys
plan
soon.
that.
And Claudia, thanks for coming as well
Pleasure.
and giving us a really good insight of what happens in the pits and what's
Yep.
really required to get a team over the line and not make mistakes, and getting the crew changes 100% on schedule. And, you know, when you still got to change your program all the time, but, you know, then there's a safety car, there's a red flag or whatever, and you've got to quickly then change your whole program going forward. Somebody's really got to do that to be successful. And I mean, you guys are successful. I mean, that every time you guys race, I think you win almost every time. And
Yeah.
and I look forward to seeing you on the campus again at the next race. And
Are you coming up to Killarney to the next one?
not I probably won't drive in it, but I think I'll probably come up.
Pop up.
Yeah, it's a nice event to watch. Leon, anything from your side?
Yeah, no, all good, guys. Well done on the simulator. Great chatting.
Q.
Be following your race career. And
Thank you.
thanks for the input and all the pit lane stuff.
Thanks
I'm
for
sure
the
there's a lot
invite.
more we can unpack, and maybe there's a couple more episodes down the line where we can delve
Yeah,
into
I
a
think
few more deeper
put all
technical
these guys
things.
together.
Exactly. Thanks, guys.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
All right, excellent. So please, guys, like, subscribe, share.
Smash the button.
Let's get this thing going, and I'll see you out in the next one.
Yeah. Cheers.